Have you ever stopped to think about what actually makes your favorite websites work? Well, chances are it's a language called JavaScript. It's the invisible engine that powers pretty much the entire internet. But that engine is headed for a massive overhaul. So today, we're going to look at what its future might hold and what that means for all of us.
And, when I say it powers the internet, I am not exaggerating at all. I mean, just look at this number. Over 98% of all websites use JavaScript. Let that sink in for a second. It is the silent partner behind every page you scroll, every video you stream, and probably every app you can't live without. It's because of that insane scale that people call it the undisputed backbone of the web. Seriously, from the most complicated work apps to the simplest sites you browse for fun, JavaScript is that fundamental layer that makes our digital world feel, well, alive and interactive. But here's where the story takes a pretty dramatic turn. For all of its power, JavaScript is approaching a crossroads. The very things that made it so incredibly successful are now creating some really serious challenges. Challenges that could change everything about how the web works. So how did we even get to this point? Well, JavaScript's rise to the top is really thanks to two things: its amazing flexibility and this huge, sprawling ecosystem of tools that let developers build incredible things at a truly mind-boggling speed. But, and there's always a but, right? That same explosive growth has also cooked up some serious hidden dangers. It turns out the road to 2035 isn't quite so smooth, and there are some big risks just over the horizon. Okay, this slide right here, it gets to the very heart of the problem: ecosystem fragmentation. See, a decade ago, developers spent most of their time actually, writing new code. But today, a huge chunk of their time is spent just trying to manage this tangled web of existing tools and libraries. Think of it like a master chef who now has to spend more time organizing a 1,000-bottle spice rack than actually cooking. It's slowing everything down. So what are the biggest risks we're really looking at? First, there's that fragmentation we just talked about. Then you've got these mounting security threats. Because everything is so interconnected, a single tiny flaw in one little known building block can create a massive security hole that affects millions. And on top of that, developers are burning out from the constant, relentless pace of change. It's kind of the perfect storm. And look, this isn't just some abstract problem for software engineers. It has very real consequences for all of us who use the web every single day. So what could actually happen if we don't get ahead of these problems? This chart paints a pretty stark picture. The web of today is one thing, but the future of virtual reality, of real-time AI, of these immersive digital worlds, that is going to require a monumental leap in performance. If today's JavaScript can't keep up, we're looking at laggy, unreliable, and just deeply frustrating experiences for everyone. And really, the bottom line is this: all of this unchecked complexity, it just leads to slower innovation. Ever wonder why it takes forever for your favorite app to get one simple new feature? Well, a lot of the time, it's a direct result of this behind-the-scenes mess, making it harder and way more expensive to build and fix the tools we rely on. Okay, so things sound a little scary, but it's not all doom and gloom. Not at all. As these risks are growing, there's a set of really powerful technological breakthroughs starting to pop up that could completely change the game and maybe even solve these exact problems. It feels like a classic race against time. And this slide shows one of the biggest changes coming. The role of the programmer is about to be completely transformed. Instead of just a human coder typing out every single line by hand, we're moving toward a model of a human collaborating with an AI partner. The AI will handle all the boring, repetitive stuff, which frees up people to focus on the big picture, the design, and the strategy. So what are these game changers? Well, first, you've got that AI-assisted programming we just mentioned. But we're also seeing totally new ways of computing, like edge computing, which we'll get to in just a sec. Add in things like hyper-efficient runtimes and way smarter automation. And look, these aren't just little tweaks. These are fundamental shifts in how software gets built. And for anyone who's curious, edge computing is a really cool idea. Basically, think of it like this. Instead of your phone having to send a request to a server halfway across the world for every little thing, it can do a lot more of the thinking right there on the device itself. The result? A much faster, much more responsive digital world for all of us. So, you see the pickle we're in, right? We're caught in this incredible tension between huge risks on one side and amazing opportunities on the other. So the real question becomes, how do we actually navigate this future? What can developers and companies do right now to get ready? For developers, the path forward isn't about chasing every new shiny tool that comes along. It's actually about focusing on the timeless skills. Things like mastering core programming principles, making security a priority in everything you build, and of course, just committing to always be learning. Those are the skills that will be valuable no matter how much the tech changes. And hey, this isn't just on the coders. Companies have a huge role to play here too. They really need to shift their focus away from just chasing short-term trends and instead build a solid foundation. That means investing in systems that are secure, that can scale, and that are truly built to last. That's how we create a healthier digital world for everyone.
All right, so let's put all the pieces together. When you take these two powerful forces, the massive risks on one hand and the emerging breakthroughs on the other, you can start to imagine a radically different future for JavaScript by the year 2035.
This quote just nails it. With AI as a partner, the job will be way less about the craft of writing individual lines of code and much more about architecture and vision. Developers are going to become the high-level strategists who design how these unbelievably complex systems all fit together. And here's where it gets really mind-blowing. The big picture this all points to is that JavaScript could evolve beyond just the web browser to become the universal communication bridge for all future technology. It could be the language that connects powerful AIs to our smart devices and connects all of us to truly immersive virtual and augmented worlds. And so we come full circle. The future of JavaScript, and really the future of the entire internet, is being defined by this powerful tension. It's a massive tug of war between crushing complexity on one side and transformative, world-changing innovation on the other. Which leaves us with one final critical question. We know that technology is going to keep evolving at a dizzying speed. That much is a given. But whether it leads to a better, more stable digital world or a more chaotic one, that really depends on the choices we all make, starting today. So the real question isn't what the code can do, but whether we can guide it wisely.